Hello everybody, this is Kirby over yonder, and today we're going to be talking about some cartoons. More specifically, some cartoons that have had a very high impact in the world of animation. This isn't going to be a top 5 list, more just, a list of 5 really important cartoons. To make this list, the cartoon must be innovative. A lot of shows must have taken influence from this cartoon, and it just has to be a cartoon that's really well known. So let's start with the list. Number 5. Snow White. Snow White was one of Disney's first animated movies, and it was very popular, which caused them to, be more popular. Now, I don't really care for this movie a whole lot. Not that I think it's a bad movie. I just don't think it's really that interesting. But that's okay. It's really one of their first anyways, so being not that interesting isn't too bad. Either way, I definitely hold a lot of respect for it, considering that without it, we wouldn't have even better Disney movies like The Lion King and Toy Story. Number 4. Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes both created and perfected pretty much every joke in the book. They were very innovative for cartoon comedy and spawned a lot of other cartoons that took influence from Looney Tunes and also became popular. Even some shows nowadays take influence from Looney Tunes, like The Amazing World of Gumball and Wander Over Yonder. With their smart comedy, Looney Tunes were also able to show the world that cartoons can be for both kids and adults. Number 3. Rugrats. Rugrats was one of the first cartoons, along with Doug and Ren and Stimpy, to put Nickelodeon on the map. And while I'm not a personal fan of Rugrats, that does not mean that the show was not very popular and helped Nickelodeon a lot back in the 90s. This cartoon was actually almost on the same level as The Simpsons in terms of popularity. Granted, not on the exact same level, but almost there. Personally, I never really got the popularity of the show. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's a bad cartoon. I just didn't find it to be that interesting or funny. But that's okay. I know a lot of people do like this one. So keep liking it, I guess. And hey, I definitely have a whole lot of respect for it, for staying on Nickelodeon for 13 freaking years. Yeah, I mean, sure, that's not as much as SpongeBob, but can you really beat the Sponge? Number 2. Phineas and Ferb. Back in the late 2000s, cartoons, they kinda sucked. To the point where Cartoon Network stopped airing cartoons in general. I mean, geez, that's kind of insane. But in the middle of the worst era in cartoon history, we got Phineas and Ferb, one of the most creative cartoons in a while. It was pretty much about two brothers who build crazy inventions all day, and their sister who tries to bust them. Unlike most cartoons during the late 2000s, Phineas and Ferb was actually very creative and had endearing characters, a good story, and was really funny. It's actually kind of surprising how funny the show is. I mean, I remember liking the comedy when the show first aired, but as I've gotten older, the show just became more and more funny to me. It kind of has a similar style of humor that early SpongeBob episodes have, which I really appreciate. Heck, the creators of Phineas and Ferb have even recently created a new show called Milo Murphy's Law, and while I don't think it's as good as Phineas and Ferb, it still is a pretty solid show. It's a no wonder why Phineas and Ferb is the most successful Disney Channel show. It's a classic, and definitely deserving of the praise it gets. Number 1, Adventure Time. While Phineas and Ferb showed that cartoons can still be creative even among the worst decades of cartoons, Adventure Time pretty much created a whole new era for cartoons, along with regular show. Its simple character designs and, well, its animation style made for a lot of influence for other cartoons. The show was very creative and there were so many different locations to it, which a lot of cartoons like Star vs. the Forces of Evil and Rick and Morty take influence from today. It also kind of created that new genre of cartoons that seem simple at first, but eventually get more layered and more deep as the series progresses. Seen in shows like, well, for one, Adventure Time, but also Rick and Morty, Regular Show, Gravity Falls, Wander Over Yonder, and a bunch of other cartoons. Adventure Time is definitely my favorite Cartoon Network show for all of these reasons and more, and it is definitely a very important cartoon in the history of animation. I definitely have a whole lot of respect for all of these cartoons. If it weren't for these, animation probably wouldn't be the same way it is today. Even if I don't necessarily like all of the cartoons on this list, I still greatly respect them. And I'll probably do another list like this sometime in the future. So I hope you all enjoyed, and Kirby out.